A lot of folks still got PS4s. Yeah, and this is a weird generation, right? Because the adopt rate for the next generation has not taken this long. Like I said, the PS5 and Xbox Series consoles came out in November of 2020, which means they're about to be 5 years old. They came out around the same time. I think it was like a week difference or something like that. A week or two difference, something like that. PS5 came out first, Xbox came out slightly later. And we can blame that on a lot of things. Obviously, at the time when the PS5s and the series consoles were coming out, there was a chip shortage. Also, we were also in a pandemic, and also there was a lot of scalping happening. Some for Xbox, a lot for PlayStation. A lot of scalping was happening at the time. So even if people really wanted to get the new consoles, it was notoriously difficult to do it. There were lotteries being held to purchase. You had to deal with people buying out stock and tripling the price. It was a lot. Once the chip shortage got sorted out, and both manufacturers, but especially PlayStation, started getting a lot of them in stores, that kind of ironed itself out. But also, that was also after the time where people were having a lot of extra time and money. So some of my friends still have the 4, and many had different reasons for not upgrading. So I get why they still hold on to the 4. Yeah. And here's the thing. The other thing that's helping that too, though, is the fact that a lot of the games that we have, I should say, not had, a lot of the games that we have, most of them are multi-generational. So we have games that are still coming out on both PS4 and PS5. And there were games at the early days of the PS5 that were initially only going to be PS5 that released for both. Horizon Zero Dawn was one of them. It was originally PS5 only, but they made a PS4 and PS5 version. Same thing with God of War Ragnarok. That was supposed to be PS5 only, but there weren't as many people upgrading, so they made it a PS4 and PS5 version. There were still games that were only PS5. Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart was one of them. The Demon's Souls remaster was one of them. But there were still a lot of games at the time, especially during the launch window of the PS5, that were both. And more came out. We're getting into the point where I think more games are coming out only on PS5. The Spider-Man games, Death Stranding 2 is only going to be on PS5. Ghost of Yotei is only going to be on PS5. So like we have more games that are coming out exclusively for PlayStation 5. But I still think in this case there isn't enough at this point for people who still have PS4s, because we're not just talking about Sony's first party. We're talking about third party too, and those are a lot of games are still coming out PS5, PS4. A lot of people still don't see a real reason to upgrade, and on top of that, we also have the fact that prices for other generations would have dropped by now. The PS5 is still $500 in store. You can make the argument that the PS5 also went up in price. It definitely did outside of the US. Like the price has risen outside the US, but in the US it stayed the same. However, there was a SKU change. The original digital PS5 was $400. The PS5 Slim digital is now $450. So technically, the PS5 went up in price. While normally 5 years later, these devices would have dropped by now. And so a lot of people who are waiting to adopt into the next generation who likely would have been swayed by a price drop. That didn't happen. We have a lot of stuff that's probably stopping people who aren't early adopters, because I don't expect everybody to just want to do thing every time, like right when it comes out. People will wait, especially when the device they have is still working well. I think those two things and the economy has gotten worse since then. So price hasn't dropped, economy's gotten worse. Not as much reason to upgrade into the next thing. I almost guarantee if both SKUs got like $100 drop, you'll see more people getting it. But the thing is, it hasn't dropped yet. Sony just released a Pro version of it. Remember when the PS4 came out? When the PS4 Pro came out, the PS4 got a slim model and a price drop at that. And then the PS4 Pro came out on top of it. So we went from the standard PS4, the one with the pointer one with the two layers, to the PS4 Slim, which had a price cut, and the PS4 Pro came out too to be the premium model, which was of course the first time Sony did it. But still, that goes to say, at this time, last generation, we saw a price cut. Not to mention, a big title was on the way, Spider-Man, right? This time, we've already had the Pro version. The Slim model didn't drop in price. In fact, it went up. And you can make the case that a big enough game like Spider-Man isn't on the horizons right now. Sure, we got Ghost of Yotei coming out later in the year, but that doesn't have the same pull. I don't even know if it's that. I don't even know if it's just Sony saying pay more, which of course it very well could be, because Sony is a corporation that wants to make money. But even the things that we always said before, economy has gotten worse. Things have gotten more expensive. Sony already had to raise the price outside of the US. So it's quite a bit. It's definitely quite a bit. This is a weird generation in a lot of ways. We talked about that a little while ago. A very strange generation, though. Get more money. As of right now, that's not even talking about the fact that Microsoft raised the cost of the Xbox, which is still such a baffling move to me. Such a strange move. So on Sony's end, pricing for the console largely hasn't changed. Yes, the digital PS5 went up $50, but largely speaking, like the PS5 is the same price. $500 is the price that you can expect to pay for a PlayStation, right? Because most people are going to go for the disc version. Some people will go for digital, but most people still want to be able to get they still want to be able to buy physical discs. Most people are still of that mindset. All digital is nowhere near. We're not near that yet. But when we look at it on the Xbox side, they haven't stayed the same in price. They've gone up. So if you thought that people weren't going to buy the new console then, and now it's gone up anywhere between $80 to $100 across the entire SKU, they're not buying it now unless they can find it on sale. He's talking about that. I'm talking about whoever, not just you specifically, but if the shoe fits, right? When discounts hit, people will start buying it. I think for now, most people see the upgrade as a luxury. Yeah, definitely. Because it's still priced as a new item. All of the consoles right now, PS5s, Xboxes, are all priced still as new devices. They're still priced premiumly. And I still think, like, as far as like the early adopters, we are gonna get the thing because we want to get it regardless of the price. But I don't want to say the common folk because that sounds kind of like uppity, but like we'll say casual enjoyers of video games, they're not gonna get it unless they can find a deal. Because other than that, I already have the thing I want, right? Once the price of these things drop, more people will buy them. It's that clear cut. The fact that we've had one that has stayed the same and the other that has gone up is definitely affecting how many people are going into the next generation. And like I said, this time, last generation, we saw price cuts. We saw new additions, we saw a lot to get people who hadn't quite made that jump yet be convinced that they probably should. This is the best time to do it. We haven't seen that yet. And I don't know what these guys got to do in order to get us to that point. I don't know if at this point, gaming as a whole is just getting way too expensive. And once again, the industry is trying to collapse upon itself because it's too big for its own good. But we won't see it like noticeable advances until that happens. The install base for the new consoles is still pales in comparison to the last ones. Well, here's the thing. Like, typically when we see price drops in the consoles, it's because they found a way to make them cheaper. So if they're selling the console as a loss, they're not making as much of a loss. Or if they're selling the console as if they're selling the console at a gain, then they're not losing too much when they drop the price. So if that's the case, are these consoles really that expensive? Is that what it is? So, but I don't know, especially with the price of materials going up exponentially. That could very well be it, because like, well, the tariff thing is that's a new problem, right? Maybe that's why Sony hasn't raised the price on the PlayStations yet. If it was being sold at the profit already, and maybe with the threat of tariffs looming, the profit that they lose doesn't necessitate them raising the price. We might still see that in the future, though. So who knows? I mean, the thing just came off of a sale, so I don't know. We'll have to see how that plays out. But I don't know. We'll have to see what happens. Because, of course, now with both manufacturers saying that they're looking ahead into the next console generation, and for whatever reason, people freaking out like they just said new consoles are coming out in the next 3 days, we do have to wonder how this generation is going to play out. The console generation is normally about what, like we'll say 7-8 years typically. If PlayStation 6 and the next Xbox are now top of mind and they're being actively R&D'd, right? How much longer does this generation have? And a lot of people feel like this generation hasn't actually shown us anything really important yet, which to a degree I can agree. There have been some good games every now and then, but I don't think this generation has the game, right? A game that only this hardware can do. Right now, a lot of people are really fawning over Expedition 33, sure. But was that game really possible only on current hardware? You know what I mean? I don't think we have that experience yet, and a lot of people, I think a lot of people feel the same way. So, GTA 6, you're right. But yeah, GTA 6 probably, and that's going to be about 6 years into the generation. About 5.5, give or take. That right there, honestly speaking, we're talking about the game that people need in order to upgrade. GTA 6 might be that game. That might be that game to say, hey, if you don't got a PS5 or you don't have an Xbox yet, or an Xbox Series X or X, let's be real. If you don't have an Xbox Series X or a PS5, you better get one. Assuming it doesn't delay again, you're right. So maybe this whole conversation was just completely mute. Just wait till GTA 6 come out. It'll just even itself out, right? maybe that's all it is. Because if there's anything that's going to push a console, you can have your God of Wars, you can have your Halos, all that stuff. GTA will push a console. GTA will push a console. All right, you shush. Boom. Oh my God, it's 4 seconds, but it's the greatest thing. No, this is it.
Not to fear, little children. I will help.
Oh my.